Diving into the world of amigurumi can be both exciting and daunting for beginners. When I first started my journey with crocheting, I've quickly discovered that there are a few tips that can make a world of difference while you crochet your amigurumi. From mastering the yarn under technique to creating seamless stitches with the invisible decrease, investing in ergonomic hooks, these tips can significantly elevate your crochet skills. In this video, I'll share my 5 favorite things that I wish I knew when I first started crocheting amigurumi to help you navigate this delightful craft with ease and confidence. Hi everyone, my name is Sam and I am the designer behind Squibble's Crochet Corner. I have been crocheting amigurumi for about 3 years and I have been designing crochet plant patterns for a little over a year. After some years of crocheting and learning new tips, I thought it would be a good idea to share some of the tips I've learned over the years. And today I'm going to be bringing you my 5 favorite tips. I hope that this inspires you to either start crocheting amigurumi or maybe it'll help just improve your amigurumi skills that you already have right now. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you would like to stay up to date on all of my new content featuring more crochet tips and tutorials. So let's go ahead and dive deep into my 5 favorite tips for amigurumi. My first tip for you today is using the yarn under technique versus the yarn over technique when you crochet your amigurumi pieces. So when I first started to crochet amigurumi, this concept to me was very foreign. I had never heard of the yarn over versus yarn under. I just thought everyone yarn over. I had seen a lot of different designers use a technique that I couldn't quite figure out that created these square-like stitches, or it looks kind of like an X. And I really just could not figure out why or how they were able to achieve stitches that looked like that. If you are new to this concept like I was, I do have a full video explaining this concept, which I'll link to above. In this video, I demonstrate the differences between each technique and how to crochet both the yarn under and yarn over. So definitely, if this is new to you, feel free to check out that video. But back to more yarn over versus yarn under. So just to preface, this is totally a personal preference. If you prefer to crochet your amigurumi in the yarn over technique, that is perfectly fine. This is just my personal preference and what I think looks nicer personally, but everyone can choose their own technique. There's really no right or wrong way to crochet your amigurumi. The only thing I would suggest is if you choose yarn over, stick with yarn over throughout your amigurumi pieces. If you choose yarn under, stick with yarn under through your amigurumi pieces. So I initially started to crochet my amigurumi using the yarn over technique, but recently I switched over to the yarn under technique because I found that I prefer crocheting the yarn under technique just a little bit more for my amigurumi. There was definitely a bit of a learning curve to switch techniques. I think it probably took me maybe about a week before I finally felt comfortable crocheting in the yarn under. But now after some time, I can switch between the yarn over and the yarn under technique depending on my project. I really only use the yarn under technique for my amigurumi pieces. Everything else I stick with yarn over. But after some time, I found that I could kind of switch back and forth between those two techniques. So there are a few reasons why I prefer using the yarn under technique for my amigurumi, which I will explain to you further. So for one, the yarn under technique naturally just has tighter stitches. So someone that has a more loose tension may prefer this method because it does create naturally tighter stitches. On the flip side, if you're someone that already has really tight tension, you may not like the yarn under technique because it could cause some hand pain, but you're kind of just going to have to play with both to see what works for you. I will say when I initially switched over to the yarn under technique, I did have some hand pain, but then my tension kind of changed with the technique, so I got kind of used to it over time. So another reason that I prefer the yarn under technique for my amigurumi is because it creates clearer and sharper transitions when you change colors. I'll show you all a picture as an example just so you can see how the differences look when you change colors with different techniques. So when you change colors in your amigurumi, the initial color change is not as noticeable. So just take a look at these color changes using the yarn over technique and then the color change using the yarn under technique. So the last reason that I prefer using the yarn under technique for my amigurumi is because I personally prefer the shape of the stitches using the yarn under technique versus the yarn over technique. For the yarn under technique, it creates a more X-like stitch, whereas the yarn over technique creates a more V-like stitch. That is just my personal preference. I personally feel like it looks a little bit cleaner and more professional, but again, just a personal preference. If you prefer using the yarn under technique or the yarn over, either technique, there's really no right or wrong way. My second tip for you today is using the invisible decrease rather than the standard decrease that we all have learned when you crochet your amigurumi. If you crochet, you may already know how to do the standard decrease, but do you know how to do a invisible decrease? The standard way to decrease can leave a small gap in your stitches, which is not ideal for amigurumi. The invisible decrease will make your stitches more uniform and cleaner looking, resulting in a more polished crochet piece. When using the invisible decrease, you're less likely to find holes, making this an ideal method for amigurumi. If you've never crocheted using the invisible decrease before, here is a quick tutorial for you on how to crochet the invisible decrease.
Okay, so to crochet the invisible decrease, you will first insert your hook into the front loops of the next 2 stitches. Make sure you're only inserting into the front loop of each of these 2 stitches. You will now have 3 loops on your hook. You will then yarn over, pulling through the first 2 loops on your hook. Now you will have 2 loops on your hook. You will then yarn over again, pulling through both loops on your hook, creating an invisible decrease.
My third tip is using a smaller hook than recommended. Have you ever paid attention to those labels on your yarn? Each skein of yarn has a recommended hook size for the weight and type of yarn. One of the key elements that can significantly impact the quality of your amigurumi is a choice of crochet hook size. Many crocheters who are more experienced choose a smaller hook size than what is recommended on the yarn label. This seemingly minor difference can make a world of difference in your final product. A smaller hook size results in tighter stitches, which is crucial for amigurumi. Tighter stitches means less likelihood for gaps in your amigurumi, and there's less of a chance that stuffing will peek out from your stitches. This creates a more polished and professional looking crochet piece, meaning that your amigurumi creations will look their best. So if you have loose stitches in your amigurumi piece, there is much more likely that the stuffing will show through the stitches, and this can detract from the overall aesthetic and durability of the piece. By using a smaller hook, you can create a denser fabric that holds its shape much better, also contributing to a longer shelf life for your amigurumi pieces. However, when crocheting from a pattern, I definitely recommend using the hook size that's recommended in the pattern. You may have to change your hook size based off the gauge swatch, but overall I recommend using what's recommended if you are using an amigurumi pattern. But in general, using a smaller hook size will create tighter stitches, which will make your amigurumi pieces a little more professional looking. My fourth tip to improve your amigurumi creations is how you stuff your creation matters. Patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to stuffing your amigurumi pieces. One of the key techniques to create a smooth and evenly stuffed piece is using just a small amount of stuffing at a time. Rushing this process by adding large chunks can lead to lumps and an uneven texture, which may detract from the overall aesthetic of your creation. By taking your time and working with small amounts, you allow yourself to control the placement and density of the stuffing more precisely, ensuring that all parts of your amigurumi are filled evenly and hold their shape well. Another important aspect of stuffing your amigurumi is adding stuffing from the outside in. This technique helps maintain the structure of your technique while also making sure that the outer portion of your amigurumi is even and smooth. Begin by gently pushing the stuffing into the extremities such as the arms, legs, and head before gradually working towards the center. This method prevents the stuffing from bulging out or creating unsightly lumps. Additionally, periodically pausing to shape and massage the stuffed areas can help distribute the filling more evenly, resulting in a polished and professional looking amigurumi. Remember, patience and attention to detail during the stuffing process will pay off in the end, leaving you with a beautifully crafted piece that you can be proud of. My last tip is about your crochet hooks, and ergonomic hooks are an absolute must. The importance of ergonomic hooks cannot be overstated. Ergonomic hooks are designed to specifically fit comfortably in your hand, which will prevent the likelihood of having more hand strain or wrist pain if you're spending long hours crocheting. This is especially crucial when crocheting your amigurumi because amigurumi by nature creates tighter stitches, which is more likely to create hand pain if you're crocheting a lot of amigurumi pieces. Using ergonomic hooks creates the less likelihood to create certain conditions like carpal tunnel. For both hobbyists and crochet business owners alike, the comfort provided by these hooks can improve your overall crochet experience, making it more enjoyable and sustainable in the long term. Investing in good quality crochet hooks is not just about your immediate comfort, but it's about maintaining your long-term health and improving your overall crochet experience. Good quality hooks are typically made from durable materials like aluminum, stainless steel, or high-grade plastic, ensuring that they last longer and perform consistently. Additionally, these hooks often have smoother surfaces, which allow the yarn to glide effortlessly, reducing the likelihood of snags and uneven stitches. While the upfront costs may be higher than just standard crochet hooks, the benefits ranging from improved comfort to enhanced craftsmanship make them a worthwhile investment. Over time, the reduced strain on your hands and wrists and the increased efficiency on your work overall will more than justify the cost. This allows you to focus on what truly matters, which is bringing your amigurumi creations to life. And my personal favorite hooks that I use are the Clover Amour hooks, which I can link to down below. I also have a full review on these hooks on my recent YouTube video, which I can link to above as well. But I cannot recommend these hooks enough. They are amazing. The yarn slides over the hook like butter, it feels like. But definitely, if you're looking for a crochet hook set, I'd highly recommend the Clover Amour hooks. Embarking on the journey of amigurumi can be both challenging and exciting, but with the right tips and techniques, it becomes an increasingly rewarding craft. So reflecting on the 5 things that I wish I knew as a newcomer to crochet amigurumi: 1. Embracing the yarn under technique for tighter stitches. 2. Opting for the invisible decrease for a cleaner look. 3. Selecting a smaller hook size to prevent gaps. 4. Exercising patience with stuffing. And 5. Investing in ergonomic hooks. Each insight has significantly improved my experience with amigurumi. These enhancements not only increased the quality of my items I was creating, but made the overall craft much more enjoyable for me. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your skills, I hope these tips help you design and create amigurumi pieces with comfort and ease. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Happy crocheting, and see you next time. Bye, everyone.